Today I'll be reviewing a brand new 2023 Mercedes GLC 300. Now the GLC 300 gets a complete redesign for this year, which means it's grown in size, it gets brand new looks, updated interior cabin, more features, more powerful powertrain, and more. So how good is this brand new GLC 300? Let's find out. So for 2023, what changed with the brand new GLC 300? Well, starting with the outside, Mercedes did upgrade the looks. It's hard to tell between 2022 to 2023. Overall shape and dimensions is very close, although if you look at the specs, the brand new GLC is slightly bigger. It's about 3 inches longer, about 1 inch wider. Height is overall the same, but that means the inside grows a little bit. The grille has been updated. The front headlights are a little bit more aggressive. I would say if you look at the front end, it does look more aggressive than the 2022. I like it. I think it's a good upgrade. Of course, not as aggressive as an AMG model, but I do think there's improvement. If you look at the side profile, it's pretty much the same shape as before. It's hard to notice that it's slightly longer, but you can see it's still pretty low to the ground. Moving to the back, you'll notice a few things, mostly on top with the LED taillights. You see this black surround, right? Which it's cool, it looks good. There's nice contrast against the white color that you see. And they're kind of connected together, right? So that does look different than the last generation. Now, another change, a massive change to this brand new GLC is the interior. So as soon as you sit inside, you'll notice 2 large screens. Basically, this was pulled from the S-Class and all the sedans afterwards, and even the EQ models, the EV models, have this similar design where you have the sloping large screen, infotainment screen, the NBUX screen in the middle now, right? And in front of you, you have a digital gauge cluster. Now, digital gauge cluster, this is pretty standard in all Mercedes cars now. It's a 12.3-inch screen. The nice interface is bright. You could change how this digital interface looks. And of course, you see various things that you want to see, including, your speedometer, tachometer, your speed limit, and your safety systems, all that good stuff, right? So that's pretty standard. But the big change is this infotainment screen. This is also about 12 inches. But here's the thing. Mercedes have now removed basically all physical knobs and buttons. And for some, that's a step backwards because it is harder, for example, to change the volume. There's like a capacitive, touch sensitive, like slider, right? That's on the bottom of the screen. The steering wheel also has the same kind of sliding setup. There's nothing wrong with the volume knob, right? But you know what? It's gone. Same thing with climate control. Now there's no more buttons or knobs or anything like that. It's on screen. The bottom half of the screen, it's more like the bottom 10th of the screen, is dedicated for climate control, but it could be a little overbearing sometimes. There's a lot of things there. The fan speed, auto defroster, all that's down there. And then you have the home button and back button is also there. So it could get a little cumbersome and overbearing. And also you do have driving modes. So there's dynamic driving modes, you have off-road, and then you have eco, comfort, sport, and individual where you can change your own settings. Besides the screen, the dash design, center console design have been improved. The fit and finish and quality, especially the quality, have gone up quite a bit. I love the feel of the leather on top. The stitching looks nice. Even the trim on the center console next to the screen has a nice look and nice feel too. So basically, the interior has been improved quite a lot. Also, I'm a sucker for contrast. I love these tan seats. They're caramel tan seats. I love the look and the tan stitching within. Everything looks beautiful. The steering wheel is also new. I like the thickness. The leather feels great. The thickness of the steering wheel feels great too. Love it. Now, something else that was also improved for this generation is the powertrain. With the GLC, right now there's only one powertrain, and it's a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. Now, you might be thinking that sounds the same as before. No, Mercedes decided to add a 48-volt mild hybrid motor They attached it to this previous engine, so now the power output is a little bit higher. Horsepower is still around 255 horsepower, but the torque goes up significantly to 295 pound-feet of torque. But it's not just power that gets improved. Fuel economy does too. So now this GLC gets 25 miles per gallon in the city and 32 miles per gallon on the highway. That's a big improvement. That's 3 more miles in the city and 5 more on the highway. So even though this GLC is bigger, more powerful, but it's also more fuel efficient. That's fantastic. Now, even though I did mention the interior has been improved vastly because of the fit and finish and just overall quality and looks and everything else, the space also increases. The cargo room is now bigger. So if you look behind the second row, cargo room is pretty substantial. Also, you get a full-size spare tire. That's rare these days. But if you fold down the second row, you'll see, yeah, you have plenty of space. The seats fold down flat. So this GLC can carry whatever you're looking to carry within reason. And in the second row, I'm 5 feet 10 behind my driving position. I still have about 5 inches of leg room and about 3 inches of headroom. So for adults, plenty comfortable in the second row. And you do get vents, which is important, and a couple USB ports as well, in case you're wondering. Okay. So I had a little straightaway, just tested out. I went from about 10 to 60 miles per hour. Good grunt, good pickup. 0 to 60 is, I'm seeing between 5.7 to 6 seconds, which is respectable. It's not super quick, but it's not slow either. So pretty good pickup overall. Now, if you wanted more grunt, I'm sure there will be an AMG version of this coming out in the near future. But right now, this is the only engine option you have. Now, how does the GLC 300 feel on the roads? Well, it's very comfortable and the drive is good, like you would expect from a Mercedes. It's very quiet on the inside, super quiet with the radio off. You really don't hear anything at all from the outside. You know, the driving position inside isn't bad. This is not a full-size SUV, or in my opinion, a mid-size SUV. So you're sitting a little bit lower to the ground, which means getting in and out is very easy, right? So for those of you guys that are on the shorter side, getting in and out of GLC, no problems at all. But you're still sitting at an elevated position, a good commanding view. The windows are nice and big all around. The front windshield isn't too raked, so plenty big. The side mirrors, everything inside is nice. Feels airy inside as well, right? And also the top, you get a giant panoramic sunroof, and it feels a little bit more airy and bright inside. Is because the cover is transparent. It's like kind of see-through. It lets some light in even when closed. So, you know, that just like something like that makes a big difference on the inside. The engine auto start stop functionality, yes, there's a button right next to the engine start button. Because of the mild hybrid motor that was attached, it's actually a lot smoother than the last generation. So it's almost hard to tell sometimes when the engine turns off and back on. It just kind of does the same. Mostly it's still annoying, but it's improved a lot with this generation. I talked about the steering wheel. The steering wheel is nice. The steering itself, there's a good weight and balance to it. It's light, yet it's not. It isn't the most precise steering, that's for sure. This is just a really good feel for a daily driver. That's all there is to it. It's not sloppy, but it's not too harsh. It's not too heavy, right? It's good. And the suspension is pretty comfortable. So going over the bumps and imperfections on these local roads, don't really feel anything. It's just nice. So is there anything bad to the GLC 300? Yes, I've mentioned some of them already. For example, the buttons or lack of buttons on the steering wheel and the lack of buttons and knobs on the infotainment system is going to be distracting and cumbersome at times. I know why Mercedes did it, because it's more futuristic looking and they think this is the future, but You know, when you're driving sometimes, you just want something simple. Also, the seat controls is like that too. Mercedes have these seat controls on the door panels. Very iconic, obviously. But previous Mercedes, those seat controls would actually move. So if you're pressing down on the seat cushion, it'll move down. If you push back on the seat back, it'll go back, right? But now the seat control is like fixed. So again, it's kind of like a touch sensitive kind of system, and it doesn't work as well as before, and there was no need to change this. The memory seats and the heated seat button is also like that. Rather than individual buttons, there's just like one big panel button. So again, why do you need to make it that way? You really don't need to. I think it does look good, but the way it feels, the feedback is certainly not the same as the previous setup with a whole bunch of buttons. Also, in terms of standard features, there are some things that are just missing. It doesn't make any sense. For example, heated steering wheel, this one doesn't get it. It's an optional feature. Same thing with ventilated seats. You can get it, but it's optional, right? So being that this GLC is around $50,000 and could be well above that with options, you know, some of these standard features that should be standard features are lacking, and Mercedes wants you to pay more for them, and that's unfortunate. As for pricing, with the new GLC 300, there are 3 trim levels. The base is just called premium, and after destination charge is about $48,000. Then you have the exclusive, which is around $50,000, and finally the pinnacle, which is the range topping GLC, and that starts right under $53,000. Now, of course, there are a lot of options and goodies and add-ons that you can add on top of these base prices, which can drive the price of your GLC up a lot, significantly upward. So keep that in mind. There are a lot of features that are not standard even with a luxury car like this. So to conclude, am I a fan of this brand new GLC 300? Yes. I think there's a lot more positives than negatives. I do think it looks a whole lot better. The interior is vastly improved. You get better fuel economy along with more power, and you still get a terrific drive. So I am a fan of this GLC 300, and if you are in the market for a luxury compact SUV or even a luxury midsize SUV, you should definitely go check one out today. All right, smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys later. Stay tuned for my future review videos. Bye-bye.